Raymond. Today on the show, we have Noah Dean, part of the Red Sox organization right now, hanging out in the Greenville Drive. We love that. We love seeing players from the Salem Red Sox move on up. That's what it's all about. Noah, last year, you absolutely slaughtered it. Honestly, your ability to generate swings and misses is just absolutely ridiculous. Fourth in all of the minor leagues in whiff rate, racking up 116 strikeouts, in just 79.2 innings. College career, ODU, equally impressive. You set the program's all-time record in saves, and you were a Conference USA all-freshman selection. Absolutely bonkers. You're such a great pitcher. I was talking to Stanley Tucker in episode 1 and was talking about how good pitchers have gotten. You're definitely a prime example of that. From New Jersey. So let's start there. What was it like growing up in New Jersey, and what was kind of the scene, in terms of baseball and, what it was like getting into it?
Yeah. So I started off as obviously 4-year-old trying to pick a sport, whatever. And I picked a team called Bayshore, and I had a really good team there. And my buddy's dad, I guess, coached the team, and he was like, I'm going to make my own travel ball team. So he made his own travel ball team, and everything just kind of went from there. I mean, we stayed together for about 6, 7, 8 years. And then as soon as we got to middle school, all broken off and stuff like that. But I mean, it was just practice every night. Just us little kids just having fun.
All right. And you go through that process and, you go through high school, and then ODU comes calling. Tell me about that process.
So originally, I was committed to Xavier my junior year to go play baseball there. And I mean, I was 5'10", probably 155 pounds. So I can understand why they were like, you know what, we don't want you anymore. But I was supposed to go there. And then I was ready to hang up the cleats after they told me they didn't want me to come anymore. So I kind of just told my travel ball coach, thank you for everything, all this stuff, but I'm just probably going to go do my own thing. And he told me, he was like, no, you're not just giving up on baseball. Sorry, you're a lefty. That doesn't happen. And he was like, I have one connection, and it's the ODU pitching coach. He's like, do me a favor, go to ODU, check out the campus, the team, all this stuff, and then you can make your final decision. And lo and behold, me and my dad took a drive down to ODU, and I mean, I fell in love. I was like, the campus is beautiful. The field's awesome. I was like, all the guys that I'm going to be going into ODU with were awesome. So it was all just meant to be.
Yeah, I mean, ODU is incredible. For those that haven't been out there, I mean, obviously I was born and raised in Virginia Beach. I mean, that's right next door. Old Dominion is near and dear to my heart. I love that place so much. I mean, it's an absolutely beautiful campus. I could definitely see why you would want to go there. Going through that process and being at ODU, I mean, you set the world on fire there and set the all-time saves record. And when you came to the Red Sox, they kind of tried to stretch you out a little bit more and get you a couple more innings. Tell us about that transition, going from, kind of that saves role into, maybe pitching a few more innings.
Yeah, I mean, it was definitely difficult trying to figure out a routine for my body. Because I mean, I was just used to, hey, Dean, you're going to the next guy. Cool, get ready. So definitely before games, getting my body right, doing stretching, rolling out, stuff like that. And then obviously all the prep going on on the field and being out there an hour before, and then getting the pen in and all that stuff. It was definitely a transition for me. But it was nice, obviously, being in Salem with Wheels or Juan and Wheels, and my first year JB. They definitely helped me with the concrete like routine that I can follow and feel good every single time I go out there.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's backtrack just a little bit because I got a little ahead of myself. When did you realize that baseball could be more than maybe just a hobby or something fun that, that you can play? Obviously it's a game, but you've managed to be one of the few people who can actually like turn it into a career. When did you find that moment? When was that moment?
Honestly, like going into my junior year of college, I was just obviously just having fun. Like all I knew at the time was I was a lefty that threw hard. Cool. Like that's all I had. And then going into our fall junior year of college, my pitching coach was like, "Hey, we have some teams like scheduled to talk to you, stuff like that." And I was like, "Whoa, like, all right, maybe this can go somewhere." And then obviously, like as the year kept going, like more teams started talking to me, stuff like that, and it was just like I would definitely say like the beginning of my junior year, like that fall.
All right. Is there a favorite memory so far of your career?
With ODU or the
Just
Red
in
Sox, or
general.
just in
I
general?
mean, yeah, just in general. But yeah.
Um, one of my a good memory I have, and it's at ODU. We were playing Charlotte, and our head coach, just loved. We had three lefties. It was me, Jason Hartline, and Jacob Gomez, and he used us. I'll tell you what, he was like, "All right, Noah's got the ninth. Hartline's just going to be the guy that goes in, just takes innings, all that stuff." But we were playing Charlotte at home, and for some reason, my pitching coach came up to me. It was like the sixth inning, I think, going into the seventh, and he's like, "Hey, can you finish this game out for us?" And I was like, I mean, my resume shows that I got 15 bullets in the tank. I was like, "What?" I was like, "Yeah, I'll try." And the first inning came in, just rolled through it, and then the second inning, same thing. And I was like, "Oh my god, like I've just proved to myself that I can go more than just one inning." And the third inning came around, and I finished the game or whatever, and it was just cool to show that like I was so programmed just to go out there for an inning, 15 bullets, whatever, and then being able to go out there and kind of just tossing that aside, and then going 3 innings and doing well and all that. Like that was a good memory for me.
Yeah, and just as a quick tangent, I do have to say, since we're talking about ODU, I remember one day you were telling me that's where you met your fiance, right?
Yep.
And I do have to say congratulations for that because I don't think I ever
Thank
got
you.
an opportunity to do that when you were down here in Salem. And I did notice that you guys just went on a trip. How was that?
That was awesome. She's from Sweden, so I took the flight over to Sweden on New Year's Eve, flying into New Year's Day. So we went over there, or I went over there, and we just had a blast. Like we stayed at her house for a little bit, and then we went down to Malmo. Then from Malmo, we took a train to Copenhagen. So I mean, we just saw everything. It was really really like fun.
Yeah, I mean, I was looking at a couple of the Instagram posts, and yeah, I mean, it looks awesome. I've always wanted to go over there.
Yeah, it's a
Um,
blast.
so transitioning back to baseball, I think I think a good place to start would be like, what is your preparation on game day? Like when you wake up and then from first pitch, whether you're giving first pitch or whether you're coming out of the bullpen, what does that prep look like? And, what does a typical game day look like for Noah Dean?
Yeah, I mean, I guess to start the day, I just try sleeping as much as possible so I can get my rest because I know it's going to be a long day. But I get to the field, I kind of just listen to my own music, kind of just chill around, and then probably about an hour and a half, like towards first pitch or something like that. That's when I'll go into like the training room, get like all my stretching done, heat, ice, or heat on the elbow, shoulder, all that stuff. Um, and then probably with like 30 minutes till first pitch, I go out to the field, do like all my stretching, all that stuff, then throw half long toss, and then go into a bullpen, and then first pitch.
Are there any like unique pieces of that are unique to you that you maybe kind of picked up on or?
Um, Not really. I mean, I only listen to like two songs when I'm like I get to the field at, let's say, games at 7. I'll get to the field at 3, and I am listening to the same 2 songs
On
from
repeat?
3 until whenever.
What are like the main two? Like, do we interchange them, or are there like two specific songs?
I mean, polar opposites. I got The Sweet Escape by Gwen Stefani, and then I got When It Rains It Pours by 50 Cent. So
Yeah,
totally
okay,
different.
all right, yeah, two completely polar opposites, two bangers though. I
Yep.
ain't gonna lie.
Yep. I mean, I
All
had
right,
The Sweet Escape for my walkout this year, and like when you hear that song, you can't sing along, like, or you can't just
yeah,
not sing along. Like I'm on the
no,
mound, and I'm like
absolutely. It,
legitimately
it is
singing the words
hands
as I'm
down one
throwing.
of the catchiest songs out there.
Yeah.
Absolutely agree. All right. What do you think out of that entire routine? What is the most underrated part that maybe a lot of other players, and if you want to get specific with pitchers, maybe, a piece of that they overlook?
Um, I wouldn't like specifically say one thing is the overlooked. I think all of it is very, very important. I think getting your body to the point where, I mean, you're going to be doing unnatural things that a body shouldn't be doing. I think you should be prepping your body as much as you possibly can. But if I had to like pinpoint just one thing, I would say probably the bullpen right before the game. I mean, that's where you lock in all your pitches, lock in the strike zone, like get into that mentality of like, all right, I'm going out there and I'm going to dog out.
Now, I will say last year, it was really, really cool to watch. Just from I'll even say like a fan standpoint, but also from a journalistic standpoint. At some point throughout half the season, it seemed like for you, it went from, being a good pitcher to being a great pitcher. And you really started to click and started to get a lot of strikeouts. Was there a moment at some point this season where it just kind of clicked and started to make sense, and you just started to, get from, even some ground balls to now some strikeouts?
Yeah. I mean, me and Juan sat down and we were just going over like my pitching profiles or my pitch profiles and stuff like that. Um, and like I just kind of learned how to really throw to batters. I mean, I once again like going from that ODU 15 bullets. I mean, I just threw fastballs in college, so it's like now I got this whole arsenal, and now I need to know like when to use something, how to tunnel it. Like, all right, this it's a lefty, and he pulls a lot of pitches. Like, what pitches am I going to throw? Stuff like that, and I think that's what helped me out tremendously.
Is there a favorite pitch to throw?
Last year was my slider. I mean, I threw that when I was behind in counts, ahead of counts. I mean, that was just my back pocket weapon. Just okay, there you go. It's in the strike zone. Cool.
And what goes into the mentality of a pitcher? Because I mean, for me, obviously I was never a pitcher, and honestly, I wasn't even good enough to go D1 or anything like that. But that's neither here nor there. But I could always tell, and even now on the journalism side, there's just a different mentality when it comes to pitching.
Yeah.
Can you kind of speak to that, and kind of how that are the difference between being a pitcher and that mentality versus being a fielder?
Yeah. I mean, I think going back to like my first year, my biggest like mental block was like I just wanted to perform. I just wanted like to do good, all this stuff, and like I think I really drowned myself in my thoughts with that. Um, but like last year, like I just went out there and had fun. Like I mean, if there was an error in the field, who cares? It's not my. It's like it's out of my control. I can't do anything about it. But the only thing I can worry about is one, the next pitch, and two, how am I going to set up the next pitch after that? So it's like my biggest change was that I just went out there and had fun. Like I mean, like I said, I was singing to Gwen Stefani as I was warming up. Like that type of stuff wouldn't have been happening my first year.
Okay, all right. So, what is like, is there like a major difference between pitching in Salem and in low A versus pitching now in high A? Is there a huge difference between the two?
um, yes and no. Obviously, like the environment. like more fans, stuff like that. But like I think the batters are the same. I mean, probably high is just a little bit more discipline, but it's still like pitching is the same thing. Like you gotta really home down, focus up, all that stuff. And like say you throw two balls in a row, same thing. Like it's not like there's no difference between Salem and Greenville. It's like, all right, like what do I gotta do to reset myself to go? Now, that could be stepping off the mound for a second or whatever it is. But I mean, there's not really much of a difference besides like I guess the fans.
Speaking of the fans and kind of the stadiums and things around, one of my favorite questions to ask, having been able to travel, to so many different places, what has been your favorite ballpark to pitch in, or even just to play in? Like, I mean, maybe it's just the aesthetics.
Yeah, I mean, I would love to say Greenville, but I would like Myrtle Beach was a lot of fun. I mean, it was like you were just pitching in a beach. Like bullpen had a little sand spot behind it, and there was like beach chairs in there. Like I thought that was pretty cool. And they had a dog to run up, grab the bat, come down. Like it's like those are things you just see on Instagram. Where you're like, oh, that's pretty cool. Like,
Yep. It's funny
I
that
think,
you say that because somewhere in this monstrosity behind me, I do have a Splash bobblehead, which is their mascot from the
mhm.
last time that we went there. Me and Katie actually went shortly. It was like right before we got married. And it was such a fun trip. And being a Chicago Cubs fan, like the amount of Cubs I guess nods to to Wrigley and different things like that.
Yeah,
Like they have a marquee there, and you're right. Like it is insane. Like it is like right there. You're pitching essentially on the beach.
yep.
And it's like a really kind of traditional ballpark. It's kind of
Mhm.
old fashioned, and I really like that.
Yeah, I mean,
Um,
and it was a plus too because I faced a couple of my buddies back at ODU too, so it was like it was a good environment, but also it was like, yeah, we were on the same team. Now it's like, well, who's gonna win this one? So
Now, I gotta ask. Now that you bring that up, like how fun is that to be able to see some of your old teammates now playing, kind of at this level now, and then kind of, in that mentality, since you guys know each other so well, what's the cat and mouse game there?
yeah, I mean, obviously, like we all know what minor league baseball is, so it's like we're all rooting for each other. But I mean, if one of my buddies is a hitter and I know his weakness, I am going to throw his weakness. Like, I'm sorry, but I mean
Now,
that's probably the only positive about it. But like other than that, it's always good to like after a game go up and like chat and stuff like that. So
yeah, I was gonna say, like, is there if he takes you deep, is there any love lost there?
that's a tip the cap. Say yeah, that won't happen again. But good job.
Now, being able to travel through the minor leagues, and since you went to ODU, there is a question that I ask everyone that's been kind of in the 757 plus the 540. The 757 is very wah heavy versus 540 is exclusively sheets.
Hmm.
Which one's better? Or which side of the battle are you on?
I'm a Wawa guy. I have a billion of Wawas in Jersey, so I'm a huge Wawa guy.
I'm very preferential to their stuffed pretzels. Like
Oh
those are
yeah,
my like go-to.
but don't sleep on sheets. I mean, they're pretty good too.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, dude, we had a Sheets right across the street from my apartment. I'm probably there like every other day.
Yeah, I mean, there was multiple stops before games in Salem where there was a Sheets right on the way, and I was like, energy drink, cool, sweet Sheets.
Now, with that being said, a third contender has kind of made its way slowly up north. Have you been to Bucky's yet?
Yeah, I've been to Bucky's a couple times with ODU, but like I've been to Bucky's a couple times. I mean, it's a little overwhelming. I mean, it's like a Walmart of like a gas station.
Absolutely, but the brisket is top tier.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, I had one this year and I was like, wow, this is good.
Now, with that being said, what's your like go-to like comfort food or like, just go-to food after a big game?
I'm a big Reese's guy. I think I like in Salem actually. Every single time, it sounds weird, but every single time I had a good game, I treat myself to a Reese's. If I didn't have a good game, I'd be like, "You didn't deserve it, man. Nope." For next week.
That's incredible. I love that.
I mean, Reese's is probably my kryptonite. Those things are good.
Hey, if there is one thing that I am guilty of, it's like, when there's something that I do not want to do, I'm like, okay, I'll tell you what. If we get up and we do it, we can treat ourselves with like a Reese's cup or something.
Yep. You have a good game, dude. Guess what? You get to look forward to a Reese's cup. That's what you get.
Absolutely. All right, yeah. So I tell you what, one of the questions that I like to kind of wrap up on is, if Noah Dean was not a baseball player, what would he be doing as a career?
Well, growing up, I was a huge computer guy. I loved the parts in the computer, building computers. My first computer I ever had, I built myself. So I probably would be in that field. Now I don't know how high up or whatever, but definitely stay in the electronics field.
All right. So now I know we've talked about it a little bit, but maybe the world doesn't know as much. That means that you're a pretty big gamer, right?
Yeah.
What are some of your go-to games?
I'm a big fan of Call of Duty right now. I'm spent a lot of hours on Call of Duty. I'm a big fan of Fortnite. All the shooting games I'm a fan of. I like MLB The Show. PGA, it's a good game too. But I would probably say number one right now is Call of Duty.
Now, is that something that during your off time that you would hang out and play with your teammates? Because Stanley mentioned that he's a huge gamer and has played with teammates before.
Oh yeah, I mean, I'm living with two of my teammates now, and it's as soon as we get home, all right, boys, rally it up, let's go, come on, got some search and destroy to play, come on.
All right, well. I think that's pretty much everything that I had. So, it's been an absolute pleasure, Noah. We really appreciate you doing this. It really means a lot to us, and we wish you the best of luck out in Greenville. And, hopefully you get to move on to bigger and better things, moving up to, to Portland and so on.
Yeah, I appreciate it. And thank you for having me on. This was a blast.
Absolutely.